Welcome, everyone, to our weekly live 5-Star Secrets with Katie Maris. And I'm hosting today. CX is non-negotiable. It is my honor to open the floor to 3 of our powerhouse guests that we had at the Now Summit. These women not only came and engaged, but they elevated the room. The conversations that we had inspired me so much that I just had to give them the floor today. So I want to welcome Amanda Majori with Premier Automotive, Debbie Waynes with the Elway Group, and Melissa Hanson-Kahn of McGrath Imports. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you,
Allison.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Gush. Here we go. And my cat is making an appearance. Here is Katniss. I want to start. I've prepared a couple questions based on what inspired me most about each of you that I wanted each of you just to take a moment to inspire our guests. And then if we have time, we'll just open it up to talking about what's inspiring each of us right now. So with no further ado, I would love to start with Amanda. You are affectionately and will always be legendary and known as the spirit animal of the Now Summit and Premier Automotive. You are that person. You are that person whose energy lights up every room you are in. And we know even the most radiant leaders have down days and off days. So I have 2 questions for you. And my first one is, how do you remain connected to that same joy and magnetism and light, even on days that are really tough?
So, well, for me, I believe it or not, I wake up like this. I get up at 5. I have this momentum. I've been with the brand for a long time. So as far as like when I'm having a bad day, my safe zone, my comfort zone, my happy place, it really is the dealership.
Mm-hmm.
Like the customers that come in, they my friends, they my family, the people I work with, like that really is the group we have. But of course things happen. Because I touch base with the advisors at night, like we see who's coming in, we could feel out the customers, or if something happens, I do allow my employees to have what we call mental health days. So like, look, if we know something's off with you, somebody else will pick up the slack. There's times we'll go for a little test drive, a quality check on the car, get out the dealership, I'm like these people's mothers too. So, we just really try to build each other up, but on the same sense, like that's not tolerated. So we're a united front. So when stuff is going off wrong, nobody knows. It's like when your mom and dad's fighting, the kids don't ever know. That's how I grew up. I grew up with a mom that insisted there was no bad days. Even when there was bad days, she'd be like, nah, man, there's no. So that's all I know, And I pour that into my kids and I pour that into my employees. And what matters to these customers, we make it about that's what matters to us. So each customer is a VIP, an experience, a relative, a friend. I mean, it really just is that kind of atmosphere. It's non-negotiable. You coming in and you gotta be in a good mood. If you're not in a good mood and you don't have the same energy, well, they don't want to work with us anyways. We very high energy. That's just, we don't have days like that. I hate to say it, we just don't. One of our executives, Miss Tracy, she says it's an aura that you keep around you. So I just like to think because they just bounce off of me because I'm let's get excited. We excited. We come in like this.
You embody exactly what I know Katie teaches, and she worked for a year with your dealership, and it's that she talks about the imagery of the duck, where when you watch a duck on a pond, it's graceful, it's kind of joyful. Like I get tickled when I see ducks. And under the surface, those ducks are paddling, but you would never know it. And I truly, I can see how you specifically and Premier as an organization really does embody that.
Yeah, no, we really do. It's like a car. If the car's not fully working, the people have to be working. I mean, really all do work that way.
Well, I want you to say a little more. You talked about VIP customers, and I know from our interactions, any customer that has the premier license plate where they're
Yeah.
actually marketing your brand, you call a VIP. Can you
Yes.
say a little bit more about the heart behind that and how you make
So
someone who basically just is, I mean, it's so easy, just as,
okay. So one day I was driving. We got a West Bank and an East Bank and where
yeah,
we live. So I'm driving across the river and I'm looking around, and because I see these customers. They stop me in a grocery store. They waving, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, that's one of my customers. So I look, and she speeds up, and I see she's got a competitor license plate, and I said, wait a minute, like you my customer, I take it personally. So it just really didn't sit well with me. So I get back to the dealership the next day and I said, like, hey, I got this great idea. It's gonna be called Fangirl Friday. What we're gonna do on Fridays is every person that comes in this dealership, I said, now I'm gonna be standing on the service drive and let they know I'm a little crazy. But I said, I want every plate. I want to be on the call, and every Volkswagen I see got a Premier plate. I said, whatever we got to do to lure these people in to get a plate. And so, the first few times we were like, hey, we'll give you $10 off. We trying to, but then it became so easy. Like the people come in and they're like, hey, I want the Premier plate. It just really, when they pull up, they know they got the Premier plate. So like you get a loaner or you get a special rate or they come and sit in my office. You VIP, and they all come in. I mean, I might have three a day that like, hey, I'm here, I'm Amanda's VIP, and they're like, yes, you are. We all keep the momentum. It really is. They'll come in and want to buy a car, and they're like, I'm one of Amanda VIP from service, and they're like, yeah, come on.
how simple and easy and amazing,
and free. We already have the plates,
right?
it's really, and it's free advertisement. Hey, where you got your car? Premier.
Yeah.
So where we more than just a service industry. We really do build relationships with our customers.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay, so Melissa, I would love to open the floor to you. So you oversee customer experience across 12 dealerships.
Yes.
I imagine each one has its own unique personality, culture, and changes. Yet you're also driving unity and consistency across the whole group. So I was just curious, with that in mind, where do you feel like you're really winning when it comes to that guest experience? And on the flip side, what's one area maybe that's still a work in progress or a challenge, but that you're actively leaning into with excitement and hope for a solution?
Gosh, Allison, that's a really good question. Thank you so much for having me on. I think that our 12 stores really have a shared philosophy. Our North Star, which I have now learned is our brand promise, is treat each customer as you would a guest in your own home. And our founder, the patriarch, Mr. Mike McGrath Sr., really embodied that. He really cared about people, both customers and employees alike, and developed a culture where I always said, I bleed McGrath. And what we've been able to do over the years as we acquired stores were promote employees throughout those stores and disperse them. I myself have been with the company for 25 years, and there's many, many other employees that have been with the company 10, 15. I mean, we even have employees that have been with the company 35 years which it's just unheard of, actually. And so we've really been able to spread that culture and create consistency and connections. And it's really been creating happy employees creates happy customers. And that's just the bottom line. Now, as far as challenges, I think, there's many, or else we'd be perfect. But I think probably the most current and one that I deal with, and I think sometimes when business itself is more challenging, is when you have a very high performing service advisor, maybe a salesperson, finance manager, that's high performing money wise, but maybe doesn't really get the best CSI. That's probably one of my biggest challenges, because something might not be done right away, no maybe real repercussions as I would maybe like to personally have happen. But one of my mottos is failure is not an option. I live by that. And so, I hold steadfast. And of course, everything is a team effort, and patience is important. And, so we work together and try different approaches to work through that.
That is, like, especially just the entire industry mentality is the 30-day cycle, right? And yes, Tracy, when the manager displays the customer experience at a high level, it becomes how you do things. And Amanda, and I know you, Melissa, are great at just embodying and setting the example. And Kyle, great comment. Legacy employees equal legacy guests. And I think it's this legacy of, if we show up, we elevate the entire experience. And I just can't wait to see where you take this, Melissa. I know, just as you're rolling up your sleeves in the 90-day community, like I'm seeing the light bulbs, and I'm seeing progress just in the short amount of time since we've met. So no wonder you've been there for 25 years. You are a legacy that is going to inspire.
Well, thank you. And I am so excited. The summit really was life-changing, and I am just so excited. So I'm ready.
Oh, we are too. And I'll reiterate, Tracy is saying same challenge on her end at her stores. Gross or unit generating employees often don't get held accountable as they should on the CX level. And that's something we can absolutely tackle as a group in this 90-day community. Just for those of you that weren't at the summit, our heart behind the summit was to absolutely activate and inspire at that 2-day event. And we're doing something I don't know that any other conference has done, where we're meeting live weekly with our conference attendees to help on all the goals that we set, and the mastermind session where we map some things out. We are taking it for 90 days and making it habits and reality. And each person gets to come with their own goals that we get to inspire and activate. So I will just, yes, Thomas, the cat and the dog. Seriously, my dog never barks in this one call. So I am going to be grateful for the fact that added some humor. And this is the perfect segue from Melissa, you talking about legacy, for me to now turn the spotlight to Debbie. Debbie, when I first met you, you were chairing a sold out chamber event that was the theme was building legacy. I found out about it only the day before, and your associate Jackie invited me, but there weren't any tickets. You, in the midst of having to cater to a sold out crowd, made me feel seen, welcomed. You ushered me to your table, and then I was so inspired when you got up to speak and address this concept of legacy, this concept of perseverance and resilience that the Elway brand, my superhero, John Elway, I had an orange wig out of the womb. And that same spirit, how it carries through your dealership group and how you lead personally and your legacy of gratitude. So with all those words, can you share how that gratitude practice has shaped, I know, just talk to us a little bit about your gratitude practice, how it's shaped your leadership and success, both personally and professionally. And then bonus question, from your perspective, how could that same gratitude mindset that some people might think is a little fluffy, how can it influence the energy inside a dealership?
Absolutely. Number one, thank you for having me on here. Just like Melissa and Amanda shared, it's an honor to be here. The day I met you was a big day. The conference was all about what do you want your legacy to be? And the Elway Group is definitely a piece of my professional legacy. I've been here for 15 years and I love the organization. It speaks very similarly to how Melissa's company runs their business. We treat our customers like a guest in our home. And that's what we strive for every day. So it's wonderful when you get around like-minded people. And now as Non-Negotiable Summit did that. So that's great. Gratitude out of that conference, it really reminded me that my personal legacy, I want to be known as the gratitude lady. I want to spread gratitude wherever I go and let people know the power that a daily gratitude practice can have. And I know this personally because when I lost my husband to cancer, I went into a very dark place, and it was a daily gratitude practice that brought me out of that dark place. So when I say I understand gratitude, it changed my life. And that's why I want to be known as that. Now, how do I use that in the workplace? I think a lot of my managers think I'm woo-woo. And that gratitude's just some crazy, probably like Amanda. She's positive all the time, right? And they think she's a little crazy. I don't care, because I will say that in a work culture, I think we can all agree that there's going to be one or two people that you just don't connect with, that maybe their work ethic isn't your work ethic. You don't like how they treat internal or external guests, whatever that is. When I have that person, I find one thing that I'm grateful for about them. And in my work history, I had a lady coworker that her and I just did not see eye to eye. But I will tell you, I found that one thing I was grateful for. And it was that at lunch, she heated up food that I always wanted to eat because it smelled so good, right? So I took that one thing that I was grateful for about her, and that's what I started bringing into our conversation. I would ask her, what's for lunch today? What am I going to smell today? And it reminded me, meal prep is good for me. She was a reminder of I needed to keep something positive in my life. And then I started asking her to share recipes with me. And because I started engaging with her in a positive manner, it brought the positive into our relationship. And then we started working better together, because I came up with that one thing I was grateful for about her. And I think it's those small things, just like Melissa shared, treating your customers like a guest in your home. If I can find one thing to be grateful for with everybody that I work with, when I look at them, I see a positive. And that's how gratitude can be implemented into the workplace, or at least that's how I've found to do it.
Yeah. How powerful too, like when I think about like a sales associate, they're not making their month, things are stressful, they're frustrated, finding something to be grateful for, or a service advisor. I just had a service experience where it was chaos and the phones were like, they wouldn't answer their phones. But when I got there, they were so kind and grateful that I was there, that it didn't matter that there was a snafu, right? Like that's the power of gratitude, is it doesn't have to be perfect, because it never actually will be. And with that gratitude and positivity that you are all embodying and reminding everyone of, life can still be really amazing, and our customer experiences can still be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I believe anyway.
Well, we have about 6 or 7 minutes left. Thomas, I want to hold space and thank you for sharing. 3-time cancer survivor. Wow, that is a warrior. Thank you so much for being a part of this and active in this conversation. With about 7 minutes left, I would just love to open the floor. I alluded that we are all part of this tribe that for 90 days is progressing towards our goals. I just would love to open the floor for conversation on how you're experiencing that, what you're excited about.
I am excited about, to me, this was the very first conference that in my 25 years I have found, and I have looked and looked and looked and looked, that was a customer experience conference just for automotive. Aside from, maybe a manufacturer throwing a little segment in, but just 2 days of the customer experience in automotive. You could, maybe go to Disney University or different things on customer experience. So when I found out about this, I had to get there, and my coworker and Maria and I had to text, my boss. He was in Europe, and I was like, I need to go to this. And so I made it happen. And every minute there was absolutely spectacular, and, gave me validation, assurance of the things that I have preached, I have taught, I have coached is right. And that I'm not crazy.
I will agree with you, Melissa. Being in a room with other automotive people talking about the guest experience was so powerful. The exercise that we did with the sticky notes, where we talked about where there could be a fumble and what values and things had to happen, and then how we could add additional value. That to me was so impactful, because number one, everybody in the room was talking about the same problems and issues. So it made us feel kind of normal and not crazy, like we just didn't understand our business. And then coming up with what other dealerships were doing just opened my eyes to, okay, we're doing these things good, but we can do these things great. And feeling that normalcy, like Amanda talked about, you're going to have people that have bad days. Let's not pass those on to our customer. Let's fix that for that coworker and team member, and let somebody that's not having that step forward.
I like how she broke it down too. Like, I feel like that helps out a lot when you're training. And it's easy to say, like, look, let's get excited about the greet. Let's get excited about the delivery. I like that aspect of it. Like, you can break it down so it's like not as big of a hamburger to chew, you'll say. Like, you take it piece by piece. That was my biggest thing that I got out of, like, everything Katie. And I'm, like, severely OCD. So for me, it's easier to follow, like, a smaller list. Like, hey, I did like that part of it. And I felt less crazy in the room too.
Yeah, unity and how everyone came together with ideas, including some of our outside experts, Sam that brought in the airport innovation and Randy with MGM and Disney. I thought it was really cool. And even Julie from Dealer Pay being just over in the F&I area, she mentioned not only was it helpful for her to have that knowledge of what might go wrong or what could be solved in F&I, but she came away with stuff she's going to go develop as products. So I loved how you informed real-time product development for vendors that, like, we didn't have very many in the room. The ones that we had, we trusted would not sell. And we're really there to roll up their sleeves and nurture and actually advance everyone. So it was such a cool experience. And that is the power, is that mapping out your entire guest journey. There are so many steps. It can be overwhelming, and yet unified, tackling the 4 things as a group, and then really just focusing on one and elevating it. There's magic in it. And I'm looking forward to doing that as a team in the 90-day cohort. And everyone who's watching that has FOMO because you're not part of the 90-day cohort, please do reach out to me. We have opportunities for other cohorts. If you would like that support and activation, that is precisely what we are here to do. And
accountability. You guys are keeping us accountable, which I think all 3 of the ladies, all 3 of us have such busy schedules. We go to this conference now. How do we implement it? Well, you and Katie are keeping us accountable to continue to take a step, even if it's 1 step a week. You're keeping us accountable to making those steps, and that's what I need.
Yeah, to be excited about it. You know, it's easy to keep the momentum up, because like we on this call, we excited. Like when I get off of this, I'm gonna be like, look, let me tell you what else great they came up with. You know?
Yeah.
And let me just also mention that no small detail was left out, from our favorite snacks at our table to the extremely impressive 5-star meal that we got to attend. And Debbie, you and I were at the same dinner, which was just exquisite. And, you know, I don't know about anybody else, but, you know, I don't often get to do those kind of things myself. And a lot of the experiences that I've had that have been 5-star have been because of McGrath, which have been, you know, which I'm so grateful for. But to be at that dinner, which was intimate, with like 7 of us there with Katie, and it was just amazing. I mean, I've told so many people about it, which is exactly what we want our customers to do, to become walking radio stations for our dealerships.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, and that's the key. I'll wrap up. We've got probably about 30 to 90 seconds. We really wanted to deliver a 5-star experience that you experienced, because just like Katie says, the Ritz-Carlton, they send all of their employees to stay at a Ritz, because if you're a housekeeper and you've never stayed at a Ritz and experienced the luxury of how the housekeeping is done, how can you do it well? So I love that you felt so nurtured. That was the point. And I sincerely hope it inspires to every experience that you have that's amazing. They all can creatively be incorporated into what we're doing in our lives.
Yes.
So,
well said.
Yeah. Well, we're slightly over. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope that you have an amazing day. I will see all 3 of you ladies later this afternoon for our call on the summit. And everyone else, thank you so much for joining and engaging us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Great job.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were supposed to stay on or not.
I don't know that we are, but thank you. I'll talk to you a little later today.
Okay, have a fun rest of your day.
I will.
Bye.
Bye. How do I get off? Let's see.